Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Thanks for coming in today. Thanks for being part of this community. For those of you that have liked and commented, much appreciated. If you haven't already subscribed, we put out 5 episodes a week. You don't want to miss them, so make sure to subscribe down below. And if you haven't shared it with a friend yet, well, come on now. Entrepreneurs are changing the world, and we want to make the world a better place for all of us. So share it with a fellow entrepreneur and let them learn a few things here. And while I don't have all the answers, I've started, exited, run several businesses, numerous businesses, 2 that I grew to over 9 figures in sales. So while I don't have every answer, I'm going to give you every answer that I have. So hopefully you can find something useful in it. Today I want to talk about a concept I covered probably about 6 months ago called turning over rocks. And I was thinking about this in my own business as we were talking about opportunities. And I always have said, and I know I've covered this topic, but I've said all along in my career that when I run a company, everyone sells. I don't care if you're on the support team. I don't care if you're the front desk person answering the phones. I don't care what your role is. Your job is to sell. Now, does that mean that you're making cold calls or standing in the front or in the lobby waiting for someone to come in? Probably not all the time. But that does mean that when an opportunity presents itself, that you take advantage of that. And the concept of turning over rocks is something that I hearken back to my childhood. And I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, as I mentioned. And there are a lot of bugs that live under the surface in Alaska that come out in the summer because it's cold for a good chunk of the year. And so in the summer, I remember my friends and I used to go over to this area called the Dirt Road. And we would walk down it, and on this path, there was these big cobblestones, and we'd pick up these cobblestones, and underneath it was like an assortment of different bugs and worms and things that you were interested in as a kid. And I think of the same concept as I think of sales. So if you're in a customer support role, let's say, listening to the customer, solving their issue is number one. But as you hear about what their problems are, maybe there's a product, a feature, something that you have, in your disposal that you can educate them on and upsell them on a different product or a different feature. Or maybe they tell you about a different business that they have, or a different, business that maybe their significant other or their friend has. And maybe there's an opportunity for you to work with them. Or maybe it's a retail customer and they walk in and they talk about, how, so-and-so also could, use this product. Listening and hearing about these opportunities is key. And so as you're in your respective role, my mindset has always been turn over rocks, find opportunities, think about what you can do more than just what the task is at hand. And I feel like there's a lot of people that say, well, I'm not in sales, I can't do that. And the reality is that if you want to be a differentiator, and if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably somebody who at least aspires to do something different. So if you're going to be that person, listening, hearing about what people are saying, and discovering those opportunities and turning over the rocks to see what's crawling around underneath is going to be paramount for you to be able to differentiate yourself. And let's say you're not going to be an entrepreneur and you're not looking to go start your own business and you want to just become more valuable in the company that you work for today. Well, if you're in a support or an admin or some back office role that doesn't interact with customers, and you happen to have that opportunity to interact with the customer, and you uncover this opportunity and you show, your manager, whoever else, would be the one that would ultimately take that, forward, like now you're showing value that you're thinking about the business more than just the role that you're hired to do. You're actually thinking about how do we make the business better? And so, turning over rocks, finding those opportunities is crucial. And the way that you do this is really, it's just about listening. It's about hearing what somebody is saying. And then I talk a lot about subtext. It's what's the subtext beneath that they're saying. Maybe they have this one singular thing that they're talking to you about, but maybe the subtext is I really need something different than what I'm currently doing. And maybe you have a solution that you can offer to them. Or maybe it's listening to them and hearing about the significant other, the friend, the family member that has a need for the product or service that your company offers. If you're not listening, you're not going to be able to turn over those rocks because you won't know which rock to turn over. And you'll just start asking questions. Think about when you go to, like, Best Buy is the best example I can think of. This is like not calculated sales effort. So when you go to buy something there, you're going to go through a series of questions on the screen. That's going to ask you things about, do you want a credit card? Do you want to donate to some cause? Do you want to, buy the protection plan? And there's all these things that it's kind of like when you go to the grocery store and someone says to you, did you find everything okay? And I don't know anybody that actually says, oh, no, I didn't. I was looking for, the paprika. Can you tell me where that is? Everybody's programmed to just say, no, I found everything. Yep, got it. Same thing with those checkouts. That's not turning over rocks. That's, trying to get somebody there. I'm saying, listen, hear what people are saying, hear the feedback from the customers, try to discover what those opportunities are, and then turn over a rock and ask questions. And if you hear something, probe a little further. So again, it doesn't matter what your role is. Doesn't matter what you're trying to do. And if you're the entrepreneur building the business, you always have to turn over rocks, right? The sale is just the beginning of that relationship. Tons of opportunities come out. So be a keen listener. You've heard that saying, 2 ears, 1 mouth. So you should do twice as much listening as you do talking. And I believe that turning over the rocks, finding the opportunities is a crucial part that you have to listen to be able to do. My name is Ron Dichter. This is Projecting Grandeur. We give little tidbits every day to help entrepreneurs and motivated people who want to go change the world, little tidbits that they can use. And I hope you find these things helpful. Please, again, remember to subscribe, like and comment, and share it with a friend. Have a good day.